We got a great NFC matchup here as the New Orleans Saints fly into Lambeau Field to take on Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers. Saints had a great victory against their division rival this Monday night, while Green Bay unfortunately had a rough fourth quarter against the Atlanta Falcons and ended up losing 25-24. But in general, though, watching that game as a Falcons fan, I was very impressed with the Packers as a whole. Trust me, everybody has bad fourth quarters from time to time. And so I'm not too concerned as a whole. The offense looks really good with Green Bay. Defense looks really good with Green Bay as well. We're going to break that down a little bit more. But, Ryan, I want to kick it over to you. What do you feel the Saints have to do to come in and continue to be undefeated, go and win a tough game on the road here?
So, for me, I think the Saints are better than we thought they were coming in. But one of the things that the Saints do really well is that they grind teams down really well. And I think that's what the Falcons were able to do against the Packers here, especially that defensive front. And so for me, I think if the Saints can come out and kind of impose their will early, I think that'll pay pretty big dividends later on. And as we saw in the Panthers game, it was pretty low scoring at first, but then the Saints kind of blew it up. And I think, what was the final score? 26-13?
I believe it was 2017.
2017.
Yeah, they got up 20-9 and then they recovered the onside kick. And unless they scored in the final minute, because I turned the game off.
No, I think they needed out. But yeah. But yeah, and so that's kind of what they were able to do. And then they moved the ball pretty well against the Panthers late. And I actually think the Panthers probably have a better defensive front than the Packers do. I know the Packers have Jair Alexander. But I think doing that way, they ran some nice packages with Taysom Hill later on in that game. And then, yeah, so I think that's kind of how the Saints are going to have to play. The one thing is there really wasn't a big passing threat against the Saints in their first two games. And so I'll be interested to see. The Packers really don't have a fear of taking shots down the field. So especially if Christian Watson returns, I'll be interested to see how they fare in more of like a spread system on the defensive side of the ball, where they're going to be they're going to try to throw the ball over the Saints' head pretty much. So that'll be interesting to see. To me, my pick largely depends on if Christian Watson comes back this week or not. He's still dealing with that nagging hamstring injury. So he was, I think, close to playing in week 2, but it ended up being a last-minute scratch. And so, yeah, I think if the Packers are going to do this, they're going to have to spread the Saints out and throw the ball over the head. If the Saints want to do it, they need to turn this into kind of what the Packers lost last week, and that was a scrappy, hard-nosed football type game that was decided in the final few minutes.
Yeah. So I think the trenches here, I think, is very unique. I honestly give the edge to the Packers just in an overall sense. The issue for me, their Saints defense is definitely very good. They were giving Bryce Young fits, and they gave Ryan Tannehill fits with the Tennessee Titans. I don't think either offenses would be considered top in the league, but they were still able to shut them down and make it very difficult for them to move the ball. A lot of 3-and-outs in Monday night's game. But this is going to be their first real test, I would say, against a much more competent offense. Jordan Love has a good handle on this offense, and Matt LaFleur, I think, did a great job drawing up plays to get that 24-12 lead against the Falcons. The fourth quarter didn't go their way. The Falcons just had possession of the ball the entire time and were able to take the lead after a couple of touchdowns and field goals. But up until that point, though, they just needed to close out the game. But they were the much better team playing against, I would think, a very good offense and a very good defense in the Atlanta Falcons. With the Saints, what their just biggest weakness now, and we saw it a little bit, they did struggle to move the ball against a good Panthers defense. My issue is going to be is actually, are they going to be able to handle the Green Bay Packers defensive front? They have a good front four, and then also with Jair Alexander, this is going to be probably one of the better, more well-rounded defensive teams that they play. And so the Panthers defense is very well-rounded as well. But the Packers, I think it's very in a much more similar vein. But I think as a team, there's a lot more confidence there. And at the same time, the Packers can go down and put up some points. I think if the Saints offensive line can hold their own, I think they can contend with them. But I think there's a reason why they've only scored 36 points so far this year, and I think it's all just because of their offensive line. Derek Carr does look impressive. Chris Olave does look impressive. It looks like
the guy I've actually been really impressed with too is Rashid Shaheed.
He had a great play. He had a great play in that Monday night game last night. That pump fake by Carr and get open. He's had a couple of big plays, even against the Titans. He, I believe, had the game-winning touchdown as well. I think he was the only touchdown scored in that game. So it's just going to be a game.
Well, until the Panthers' final drive, but
sorry, I meant the Titans. Sorry, I didn't specify that. In the Titans game. Yeah, he has come up big, and that's what it seems like. They've had just a couple of big plays in each game, and so definitely correct me if I'm wrong. I really like hearing from you guys, Saints fans. I feel like I learned a lot more about the team as well. So definitely roast me in the comments. But I feel like what they've, and this might not be most accurate because they did have some good drives that just ended in field goals last night. But I think that offensive line just does hold back this offense a little bit because they do have some good weapons. Michael Thomas seems to be healthy now. Rashid Shaheed's really come on. It doesn't really matter what running back is back there. I saw Jamal Williams is dealing with a hamstring injury, but then there's the guy who they were talking about who I believe he's even scored a touchdown. Let me double check here. Because it also looks like Kendra Miller's hurt as well. Sorry, 1 second. I wanted to make sure I get this right. Tony Jones Jr. He had a great game on Monday night as well, so that's a pretty cool story. It's just going to be tough. It's going to be going the first game in Green Bay this season. I'm very impressed with this offense, and I think at the end of the day, that to me is going to be what the overall reason why the Packers win this game, in my opinion. X factor is going to be the Saints' offensive line, but still, I think this Packers offense is going to be too much. If Christian Watson comes back and Aaron Jones comes back as well, there's going to be a lot of firepower that the Saints are going to have to deal with.
Yeah, I'm going with the Packers also. For me, I think, again, largely depending on if Christian Watson returns, but this offense, I think, will kind of reach a whole new level once when Christian Watson comes back. Just because Romeo Doubs has been forced into that true vertical threat wide receiver. And while he is an outside receiver threat, I think he definitely does better when he's more in like the Z role where he's running maybe like mid crossers and he can run a little bit after the catch. Whereas Christian Watson really stretches teams vertically. And once when they start being able to do that, I think this offense takes 3 steps forward.
Absolutely.
In the ability to score points. So I'm going with the Packers, especially if Christian Watson comes back.
Well, even then, too, Romeo Doubs got a couple touchdowns. Dontavian Wicks got a touchdown against the Falcons. Reed got a touchdown against the Falcons. And Luke Musgrave has been playing well also. So and then once you get Aaron Jones back, who seemed like that was more a precautionary injury, I'm going to seem like his hamstring was fine. At least as he's saying hi to the camera while he's getting his leg worked on in week 1. But I think it is just precautionary, just knowing how long this season is. But I think they will come back in this game because there was even reports Watson might have come back against the Falcons, but just to be on the safe side, they said no, and they almost won that game. I think they'll come back this one for the home opener, and I think it's going to be a Packers victory.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and wrap this video up here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below on who you think is going to come out ahead in this matchup. Is it going to be the Green Bay Packers? Is it going to be the New Orleans Saints? Let us know down below. And other than that, we will see you guys next time.